Hello, this is Jordan. Sorry, I couldn't.
Hello.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't hear you there for a second. Can you repeat that?
I said my name is Linda and I'm calling with Disney.
Oh, hi, Linda. How are you today?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good. Do you have me on speaker because I'm having a little bit of a reverberation?
I do not, but I will plug in headphones so we can avoid that.
Okay, great. Sometimes we just get a little bit of that. Doing okay today?
I am. I'm doing great today. I have my normal lobes, and I do have a tattoo on my forearm close to the wrist, but not on the wrist. It's about 2.5 inches by half an inch. It would be below that. My left. Two and a half inches by half an inch. Of course. Yes, ma'am. I have. Freshman year, the only thing that my roommate and I had an issue with was she liked to be very cold, and I get sick when it's really, really cold and I'm sleeping. So she would always have it on 55 degrees, and I was so sick that entire first semester. So I just texted her and said, hey, after class, can we sit down and have a conversation? And so we just sat down and talked, and I was like, hey, I keep getting sick. Would it be cool if we worked on the temperature and kept it around 60 something instead of 55 in the winter? And she said, I know, it was crazy. And especially with North Carolina, our weather gets so crazy. So it was a struggle, but we worked on it and we kept it around 65 for the rest of the time. That way I wasn't having to layer blankets upon blankets over me. It is. It helps so much. I know this year, while moving in, my roommate and I actually texted each other, and we had a list of things like we go to bed around the same time, so being loud at 1 in the morning wasn't an issue, but our class schedules are a little bit different. She has a night class, and my classes are during the day. So we were just told each other our schedules, and we are both very considerate over this person sleeping, don't be loud. So communication definitely is the best. Correct. I have looked a little bit, but I don't remember clearly what they were. Yes. They all had their individual crazy days. For our outlet, we specialized in tuxedos and prom dresses. So prom season, we had anywhere between 305 people or 500 people trying to try on dresses at once, and it was really crazy. Um, I think one of my busiest days was working New Year's Day at Kohl's. It was one of my first shifts on register by myself, and I had also just learned fitting rooms. So I knew a little bit about how to work the floor and how to interact with our guest. And I remember almost every single one of the registers shut down. So we had to manage the line. We pulled some guests aside. We used the kiosk if people needed help ordering things online, but we really tried to just explain, hey, I'm really sorry, our technology crashed. We're moving the line as quickly as possible. Is there anything else that we can help you with right now? And I helped a lot of people run around the floor, and we got some other things. We tried to keep them entertained while the computers were being rebooted. And as soon as the computers were rebooted, we got the line down, and everyone was so thankful that we were trying our best to resolve the situation and keep them informed on what was going on. And I think that shift was about an 8-hour shift. And my thought was, I'm here to work and I'm here to help these guests and I'm here to make them happy and make their shopping experience enjoyable. So even if I'm tired, that doesn't matter. That goes out the window as soon as I get there. So I just powered through and kept and focused that I was there to serve our guests. And I was really exhausted but very satisfied when I clocked out at that shift. At Subway. So one of the difficult things about the location I was at, because we had 4 owned by the same family in Mebane, I was at the one that was located in the mall. So we had a lot of international guests come in, and they don't always speak English very clearly. So sometimes it was a little difficult to understand what they were trying to say. So what I started doing is we had a little printout of the menu, and this one customer just did not speak any English and was very visibly upset that we had no one that spoke Chinese. So I pointed at the different bread options, I pointed at the different meat options and sandwich options, and I did my best. And when it came time to pay, I took a little piece of paper and I wrote down what it was so that she could see. And she seemed very pleased that I took the time to work with her, because the communication barrier was there, but I didn't want her to get upset and leave and not have food. Yes, ma'am. So working at Subway, I personally would always wash things. I I would see that something was in the fridge for more than a couple of days. I would take it, I would dump it, I would prep new veggies, I would pull new meats, bake new bread, wash, completely sanitize all the dishes in hot water. I would keep track of the temp logs because some of the other employees were a little bit bad about that. So I tried to keep track of them. I made sure everything was the right temperatures. I kept the coolers closed when we didn't have guests in the store so that the meat and the veggies didn't get too warm. And I always wore gloves. I always got in the habit of changing gloves, washing my hands, cleaning down surfaces, cleaning bread knives. I was on top of cleaning everything because I didn't want to be the reason why someone was sick. So with Kohl's especially, every day kind of feels like a new day, even if I'm scheduled for 3 fitting room shifts in a row. You don't always see the same guests. You always have new people to interact with. And one of my favorite things to do is if I see a guest, I will go up to them and I'll just ask them about their day, have a conversation with them, find out if there's anything I can help them with, just get to know them a little bit personally, and just use the guest interaction as a way to like freshen up what's going on because you really don't see the same people all the time. And I think it's really cool that I have the opportunity to talk to different guests and get to know them and improve their shopping experience a little bit. So definitely always just reminding myself that, well, I'm doing kind of the same thing. It's always different. I have. Working at Subway, there was this one shift where I had a line of guests and I was working it by myself because my coworker was in the back and I had no idea what she was doing. So I finished up with those guests, and while I had a second, I went back to see what was going on, and she was underage drinking on shift. And about the time I saw that, her friend drove drunk to the store and was in the store, which put the public safety at danger. And we had guests walk in. So I told her to stay in the back. I grabbed my phone. I texted my manager, hey, guest just came in. I need you to call me in a couple minutes. I got the guest clear. She called me. I explained the situation, and she immediately drove to the store. She called the girl's parents, and the mom drove both my coworker and her friend home. And my manager stayed with me so that we were able to keep the guest there and able to serve them food. But it was really stressful having to like act like I'm not freaking out on the inside because was serving people food, but someone had just drove drunk into our just came into our store drunk after driving, and it was a mess. And I really don't know how I kept calm, but I did because I didn't want to freak anyone else out. Whew. I am perfectly fine with cleaning up after others. I know that it's part of my job. One of my favorite things to do at Kohl's and at Former was actually put things back on the rack. Because I was on the floor, so I got to talk to the guests a little bit more, but I also got to constantly keep moving and keep talking to people and keep cleaning and making sure everything was neat. And that's one of my favorite things, is making sure everything is perfectly organized and clean and looks good for people to come and shop and have a great experience. So I love cleaning up after people. Yes, ma'am. Yes. We use that system at work too, so I'm very familiar with how to run those registers. So, what we do at Kohl's and what I personally do is if we no longer have the item, I grab our Bluebird, which is our technology where we can see what other stores have in stock and we can scan in our inventory. I will scan it and I will type in different store numbers to see if they have it in stock, or I take them to the kiosk, which is our in-store like online ordering system, and I help assist them order it online, and that usually gets the job done. But if it's something that we just no longer have in Kohl's in general, I will ask them a little bit about why they wanted that particular product and see if there's anything else similar that I can try to sell them on. I, of course, would explain that I'm sorry that she had to get lunch with Daisy or something along those lines, and I would see what other characters were still available at that time so that they could maybe go and see that character, hype that character up a little bit, and just explain that she'll be back in a couple of minutes. It won't be that long. Just try to keep people happy and just try to find other options for them while Minnie is taking her break. Completely. I throw the truck at work, so I'm used to being in a hot little like tin box. I'm good. So my mom has a Nikon fancy camera, and I actually steal it from her all the time and I bring it to campus. And I'll take pictures of my friends. I love taking pictures of nature. I love taking candid pictures of my friends where they're not paying attention, because those tend to be the most like genuine expressions you get. So mostly just taking pictures for my friends and families and nature. Yes, ma'am. That's completely fine. Yes, ma'am, I am. Okay, awesome. I just am mostly interested in your Disney journey and how you got to be where you are today. That is amazing. That is that is such a great story to hear. That is amazing and wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for your time, Linda. Oh God. So my top thing when I get to Disney is I go in the Haunted Mansion. I used to be terrified of that ride when I was that attraction when I was younger, and now it's one of my favorite ones to go on. Um, just I've gotten really into like reading the books about the attraction itself. I've watched history on the process of Walt coming up with a haunted mansion for California. It's just a fabulous ride. And then I definitely go to Epcot because I love being able to walk around and experience all the different cultures. Thank you so much, Linda. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.